Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Life Sciences Department. Okay, so my name is Adesh Ramsubag, and I'm just going to give a small introduction. So I'm currently the head of the department, and let me formally welcome you to one of the most productive departments. I'm giving you assurance that you are not making a mistake coming into life sciences. And I trust that you'll be having a fulfilling, intellectually stimulating, and enjoyable experience with us. So basically, by joining this department, I would like to say that you are coming into a department with a very long history. We have had our start more than 100 years ago as part of the Imperial College of Tropical Agriculture, which was a very, very famous, world-renowned institute. Um, and our first version of our department actually started as a department in that Imperial College of Tropical Agriculture. We are a very accomplished department, as you will realize, I'm sure, when you formally start your program. We have won all the departmental awards within the UV campus, as well as among the three university campuses. Many of our lecturers and staff members are well accomplished, well world renowned as well. So for instance, we had Professor Agard, who recently retired. He was part of a team that won the Nobel Peace Prize. We have been leading in research in a number of areas, in ecology, in fish biology, in mosquito control. Professor Chedi, again, past researcher, world renowned in research, especially with the Aedes mosquito. And we know that we have this serious problem with dengue throughout the country. We have, been very strong department in traditional areas of biology. Many people, when they hear life sciences, they think automatically as biology. Yes, we cover biology and many sub-disciplines. For instance, plant science, zoology, biochemistry, environmental science as well as part of life sciences. But we have also been trailblazers in new and emergent fields of biology and biological sciences. So for instance, we initiated programs in molecular biology and biotechnology, and we have been doing molecular biology and biotechnology for a very long time, more than about 30 years or so, okay, or at least 20 years. The new areas, the cutting-edge areas in biotechnology, for instance, genomic studies, metagenomic studies, transcriptomics, and you all will be getting yourselves, you'll be becoming familiar with these areas. Again, we have been the trailblazers in these areas. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a little bit about the department itself. Um, Again, we are part of the UE, and UE is world recognized now. We are among the top 1.5 universities in the world. Okay, and the Caribbean #1 university. So basically, I mentioned about the different areas we cover broadly: biology, biochemistry, environmental science, and the sub-disciplines. Okay, many of the sub-disciplines I mentioned are covered in broad programs like biology. We have a biology major, and then we have a biology degree. And within the degree, we have specializations in different areas, including ecology, zoology, plant sciences, marine biology. We also have microbiology and biotechnology. All right. And all of our programs are benchmarked against international standards. So when our students graduate from our department, they can function effectively and measure up to any biology graduate in any part of the world. Okay? So one of the things I just want to mention is that I know you all are part of the internet generation and information is at your fingertips. So it is very, very easy to get a solution for any problem. But sometimes what we have realized is that that approach often take away from the thirst of deep learning. It encourages shallow learning. But when you come to us, we want you to think deep, be critical thinkers, be problem solvers. And this is what we'll be working with you all to achieve for your intellectual development. So yes, we want you to have basic knowledge like identification, defining, and explaining, but we want you to have deeper skills as well, application skills to interpret, evaluate patterns in data. And then we will, expect you to, again, classify and solve problems, diagnose problems, and come up with solutions to problems. Okay? So yes, we'll be working with you all to develop and enhance some of these critical thinking skills. Just a little snapshot of some of the activities that we are involved with. So for instance, here you see energy conference. You'll want to know, well, how come life sciences is involved in energy? We are directly involved because many of our projects involve energy. For instance, we have research in microbial enhanced oil recovery. When we extract crude oil from these wells, only a small portion of it is extractable using traditional technologies. So a lot of the larger fractions, for instance, remain in the reservoirs. So what we do is we are working on using microorganisms that we can inject into the reservoir, and then that will break up the oil and make it easy to extract. In the photo here, you see one of our students, Dr. Amanda Ramdas. She has done work on microbes that degrade petroleum, and this could be applied for remediation processes. So for instance, we know the oil problem in Tobago. So our technology is moving towards that direction in terms of field applications. We have done a lot of lab work, we have demonstrated the capability, and hopefully we will develop the technology to such an extent where we could actually apply them to the field. Here we have researchers here doing work in the North Pole. BioBlitz, you might have heard about the BioBlitz that our department takes a lead in organizing. All right, so a lot of research activities, feel free. We have a departmental website. We have a lot of information on these activities, and you'll be getting to know about these more when you come forward. So basically, just to give you a little overview of the staff. So I am here as head of the department. We have administrative assistant, Ms. Paulette Belfonte. Paul, our secretary in the office is Ms. Kezia Ferreira. And we are here in the office, to deal with any issues. So Ms. Belfonte, Paul, and Ms. Ferreira, you will be probably meeting first if you come into the department. Okay. In terms of our academic staff members, our lecturers, just to give you a quick overview, Dr. Winston Eli Box, he is senior lecturer in genetics. Dr. Aidan Farrell, senior lecturer in plant physiology. Professor Ayub Khan, he is professor of plant sciences. Specifically, he works with insects. Okay, he's an entomologist. Dr. Judy Rouse Miller, she's in plant sciences. Dr. Mike Otam, again, he's in forestry. So you might see plant sciences here for many of them, but they are all specialized in different areas. All right. Dr. Rouse Miller, for instance, she is in tissue culture, plant biotechnology. I mentioned Dr. Otam. He is in forestry sciences. Dr. Nigel Austin, he's in plant sciences, plant molecular biology, plant biochemistry. Professor Jayaraman, he's professor of biotechnology and microbiology. I'm also in microbiology and plant pathology. Dr. Rajni Harak Singh, she's a lecturer in biotechnology and her interest is in human genetics. We have Dr. Arti Pustam, temporary lecturer in microbiology. Dr. Azan Mohammed, he is in ecotoxicology, applied more to environmental science. Dr. Luke Ruston, he is a lecturer in zoology and his specialization is in working with mammals. Dr. Amy Deacon, lecturer in zoology, and her interest is in aquatic biology, all these aquatic organisms. And we also have another temporary lecturer, Dr. Himawati Babulal, and her areas is in environmental science. Okay, broadly environmental science. Dr. Mark Hume, a lecturer in zoology, and his specialization is with birds. Dr. Ladina Kanhai, again, temporary lecturer in zoology, and her specialization is in marine biology. All right, and then we have Mr. Zahir Hussain. He is an instructor in zoology, and his specialization is with fisheries, okay, fisheries sciences. The biochemistry staff members, we have Dr. Adrian Lennon. He is senior lecturer in biochemistry, and his interest is in plant biochemistry. Dr. Sefa Ramprasad, she's senior lecturer in biochemistry, and she has broad interests. She works with plants, she works with viruses, she works with fungi, bacteria. Dr. Coburn, he's our current dean. He's also senior lecturer of biochemistry, and his interest is in metabolic diseases like diabetes. Dr. Melina Muchkarska, she's again senior lecturer in biochemistry, and her interest is with bioactive molecules in drug development, okay, from reptiles from this region. We have Dr. Candace Cuthbert. She's also temporary lecturer in biochemistry, and her interest is in medical biochemistry. Okay, so that's basically it with our staff. You'll be meeting all of us soon, and we are looking forward to interacting with you and having intellectually stimulated discussions, I'm sure. We are all friendly people, so don't afraid when you come here to interact with us, right? We have a lot of more information in the web page and the faculty handbook. You can download the faculty handbook. It has lots of details and on courses and the course syllabus and all the description of the material that will be covered in these courses for the different programs. Okay, so basically that's it for me, and let me again warmly welcome each of you all, and looking forward to meeting and interacting with each and every one of you. All right, so one of my colleagues will continue with the another presentation.
Yes. Right. Thank you, Professor Ramsbag. Dr. Deacon will be handling the next presentation. Dr. Deacon.
Hello. Yes, can everybody hear me all right? Everybody can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Professor Ramsbag. So I'm Amy Deacon, and I'm a senior lecturer here in the department as well. And I'm just going to tell you a bit about the less academic parts of your time in DLS, Department of Life Sciences. Now, first of all, just to briefly introduce myself, I usually put a picture of this fish here, which all of you, especially those doing the biology program, will be very familiar with by the end of your degree program, because if you have any courses with me, which you will have because I teach evolutionary biology in year 2 to everybody, then this species will come up multiple times. I don't think I can do interactive chat with you all, but it's the Trinidadian guppy, which hopefully many of you will be familiar with, but you'll be very familiar with by the end. And that's the subject of a lot of my research personally. So just to get that in from the very first time I meet you all. So my job today is to tell you what else you need to know. Hopefully you've already got the impression from Professor Ramsabag that the Department of Life Sciences is a really exciting place to be studying, because you're going to be taught by experts in their field who are publishing actual science they're doing, publishing, and then also sharing knowledge about that science with you, even though they're practicing scientists in their own right, which is the difference in a way between learning about science at school and then learning about it at university. There's a different environment. You're learning about it from the scientists themselves. Also, we're very lucky in the Department of Life Sciences that we have the UE Zoology Museum on site. So this is a collection, the biggest collection in the country of animal specimens that is used by researchers, for teaching, and is, it's quite an impressive collection from more than 100 years old, many of the specimens. We also have a large insect room, as well as the room you can see in this picture. So we have access to that for teaching and research purposes, and you can also arrange to have a look. It may be incorporated into your teaching, but you'll walk past this museum multiple times a day once you're with us in the department. Also on campus, but a short walk away, we have the National Herbarium of Trinidad and Tobago, which is connected to the department as well. So this is, again, the main repository for botanical specimens in the country. And it's also very actively used for research, for education. And again, if it's something that you're interested in, there are opportunities to work with the specimens, work with the herbarium, and have a great connection there. So what will your day seem like when you actually start coming to campus? So when you arrive, we've got a very beautiful campus, and you'll come and you should really try to plan to spend your week on campus from Monday to Friday, and sometimes you might have labs at the weekend on a Saturday as well. Your timetable won't necessarily be 8 till 6 full up, but you should expect to attend all of those lectures, tutorials, and labs on your timetable, and spend the time in between taking advantage of the facilities we have on campus. If you have gaps in your timetable between lectures or labs, then we have the library, the Alma Jordan Library, with plenty of spaces for studying. We have computer rooms for quiet spaces to work. And there are also other things you can do on campus. We have food courts, we have coffee shops, we have lots of benches in lovely spots in the shade underneath the big saman trees on campus. So you should take advantage of that time to study, be social, join clubs and play sports. These are all things that you can do during your week on campus. We also, especially being the Department of Life Sciences, having an environmental science program and a biology program in particular, we're very keen on maximising the sustainability and minimising our footprint. We've got a long way to go, but there are things that we can help all of us to do. We have water filling stations with supplying cold filtered water on the corridors in our department and all over campus. So bring your refillable bottle so that you don't have to buy single-use plastics. There are also recycling facilities on campus. We have eye care bins, so you can even bring your recyclables from home if you wish. Of course, carpool where you can to avoid parking problems, as well as minimise your emissions. And we have lots of great options for food on campus, and most of them are very happy to accommodate if you bring your own Tupperware container or lunchbox and ask them to fill that container instead of giving you a single-use container. And of course, like everywhere in the country, you need to actively say no if you don't need a plastic bag. And by doing these things, we can minimise our footprint in terms of our daily routine on campus for the environment. A few things that it's important to talk about in terms of pitfalls, because really I want to give you some advice that will allow you to sort of maximise your success during your time in the department. And full-time jobs is one thing that we've learned over the years can be a real pitfall for people. As such, it's not permitted for any full-time student to take on a job that means more than 12 hours a week of employment outside of your studies. There are two reasons for this. Firstly, it is against university policy, so it's not allowed. But the reason it's against university policy is because we know that if that's the case and you are working for 12 or more hours, your academic work, it's inevitable that will suffer because the degree is designed to be a full-time degree and you cannot keep up. Even if you're a strong student, it's just not possible to do that if you're working that much. We do realize that some people have to work for necessity, and if that's you, you just need to consider a few different options. One is taking a leave of absence from your degree and coming back to it once you're able to do that. There's also the option to switch to a part-time degree, which allows you to then take on a little more work. Another pitfall it's important to tell you about from the very beginning is plagiarism. And for those of you who aren't completely clear on what plagiarism is, it's when you use other people's words or ideas and present them as if they're your own. And that doesn't have to be intentional, but sometimes you can do that without meaning to, just by not citing the sources and telling us where that information came from. Now, it's something that we have to tell you about from the very beginning, and it will be reinforced as you start your courses, because it's a very serious issue. It's forbidden, and there can be very serious consequences for committing plagiarism, whether it's intentional or not intentional. Firstly, because it counts as intellectual fraud. Effectively, it's cheating because you're taking other people's work and submitting it as an assignment as if it's your own. But also because as lecturers, our job is to assess your understanding, to see how you're doing in terms of learning and meeting the objectives of the courses that we're teaching to you. And we can't do that unless it's your own work. Even if you submit something that's the correct answer, that's not really helping us to understand whether you've really fully understood and are keeping up with the program. So there's a double reason why plagiarism is taken very seriously by the campus. Luckily, it's very easy to avoid plagiarism. It's just you need to be very clear on it from the beginning. The first easiest way to do it is, firstly, never ever be tempted to copy from a friend. However overworked you are, if you feel overwhelmed, there are other options. You do not need to copy from a friend. Come to the lecturer, ask for an extension, explain the situation. Just don't do it, because you can get yourself and your friend in trouble, and there can be very serious consequences. The more common way that plagiarism can happen is you cut and paste from another source. When you're doing your reading and your research for an assignment, you cut and paste it into your own Word document, and you intend to reword it later, but you never get around to it, or you reword it a bit but not enough, and then it gets flagged up by us as being from another source. You haven't told us where that source came from. It looks as if it was supposed to be yours, and that would also count as plagiarism. So the easiest thing is just don't cut and paste. You can have your notes in one document, but then you literally type out your answer, formulate your own ideas from your notes. You can use, of course, you'll get using multiple sources, but it's important that you put it in your own words when you're submitting an assignment. If you really can't find another way to write it, you can put short sentences in quotation marks and cite where that came from very explicitly, and that's also acceptable. So you must always credit where you've got any information that isn't in your own words, so that anybody reading it knows exactly what you did and where it came from. And these days, many of you will be familiar with AI tools such as ChatGPT. And just to clarify that this would also be considered under the same kind of definition as plagiarism. If you are submitting something that was actually written through AI, and you're putting it in your document and submitting it as your work, that would count as cheating or plagiarism. You have to tell us exactly when you get something from a different source and be very clear about that. And if you're in any doubt at all about the use of AI or citing and plagiarism, just speak to your lecturer about it. Don't take any risks because you don't want to deal with the various procedures that follow if it's flagged up as plagiarism. So just make sure you ask if you're unclear, but there are some very simple ways you can minimize the chance that you can get caught up in sort of either intentionally or accidentally committing plagiarism during your degree. So how do you succeed in DLS as well as avoiding plagiarism and not taking a full-time job? You will be very, very busy, even if you're not working. That's the way the degree program is. So it's really important that you attend your lectures, your tutorials, and your practicals and labs. Make sure you're on time to these, you don't roll up late, and that you are there, you're ready to listen and engage with the material. If you do that, that's half the battle really, and means that you are in a really good position to then keep up, succeed, know what's going on. Similarly, make sure you submit all your assignments on time. It's not about going for perfection. You really should try and submit them by the deadline, because the penalties for late submission really can nullify any benefits you got from the extra days that you spent on the assignment. And again, if there's something serious that's got in the way of you being able to meet a deadline, the first thing you should do is approach your lecturer to explain the situation. And in some cases, they are able to give you a deadline, an extension on that deadline, a short extension with justification. But wherever possible, try to submit your assignments on time. It's an easy way to make sure you're on track. Another thing that might be different to being at school or being not being on part of university life is that it's really important to check your email every day. We're not dealing with WhatsApps or social media for this. It's your email that is the primary line of communication with the university. So this is how you should communicate with your lecturers, and you need to check it every day. We expect you to check your email at least every 2 to 3 days to avoid missing anything really important. If you do miss something important and you didn't check your email for 3 days, that would be on you. So you need to make sure that you're keeping up with that and at least looking for anything important in that mailbox. And on that note, it's maybe a good time just to give a brief sort of basic lesson on how to email a lecturer. I'm sure many of this is all already known knowledge to most of you. I don't need to do this, but it's always worth going over for some people who aren't in the habit of writing emails regularly already. So always start with Dear Dr. Deacon, Professor Ramsabag, whoever you're emailing. It's not Miss or Sir. We're at university now, not at school. In the email, mention the course that you are inquiring about, if it's about a particular course. Include your full name and your student ID number. This allows us to, if we need to check something or be sure we're talking to the right person, that's really important. Use the subject heading to describe what the email is about, so that at first glance we know what the email is concerned with, and that can also speed up a response. And then make it really clear in the email what your question is, not sort of 3 paragraphs of explanation where you kind of lose the question. Make it as brief as you can with a very clear question, and make it clear if you need a response, what that should be, that you need us to reply. If there's a deadline that's needed, tell us that, etc. And always use your UE email for correspondence with lecturers, not your personal email or Gmail. Use your UE email, which if you haven't got one, you'll be getting that soon. In the Life Sciences department, we have class representatives, and these are students, and it's usually about 2 per course, sometimes more if it's a large course, who are the nominated representatives to relay any concerns or requests between a lecturer and the students, and between the students and the lecturer. So it can be any issues that might impact the whole class. So rather than talking to every student individually, the lecturer can work with the class representatives to pass something on. Similarly, if there's an issue that a large proportion of the class are having, then that representative can bring it to the lecturer without all the different students sort of inundating the lecturer. So it works both ways. It's quite a formal kind of procedure for this. We have twice a semester liaison meetings where those reps will go, and they'll have a chance to share any issues that have been happening, although it's expected that those would have already have been taken to the lecturer in advance of these meetings, but it's a way just to keep that on record, or if something hasn't been dealt with satisfactorily on a one-to-one, so it needs to be brought to this meeting. So it's something that you could consider. I'm telling you now because it's something that's worth considering volunteering for. You get a short training. It's a nice way to sort of have a connection with your lecturer, and it's a nice thing to be able to put on your CV later on that you've had this role with some responsibility on top of your normal degree responsibilities. So wait, in the first week or 2 of term, then various lecturers will probably put a call out for class representative volunteers. So just to let you know what that is, and you can be ready to volunteer. I now want to talk about issues and concerns that you might have. Now, of course, we are a university, and so our main concern is your academic performance and development. But we are very, very aware that this is impacted by many different things. So we know that any of these other factors that I've put on this slide here can have a direct effect on your academic performance. And that can be, out of your control, or it can be something that, you don't have there's nothing much you can do about these sometimes. Yet, it's going to be having an impact on your academic performance, however hard you work or however you try to catch up. So what I wanted to really just convey here is that we understand that. And we don't always have all the answers, and we can't necessarily solve everyone's problems, but you mustn't be afraid to come to us and let us know if any of these things are affecting your academic work, because there are things that we can do. And if we don't know, then there's nothing we can do. And don't let any of these factors reach the sort of point where they're having such a bad effect on your academic performance that it's too late to kind of come back from that. If they're starting to impact your grades, or you can anticipate that they're going to, then come and see us, come and see their lecturer, come and see, well, I'll have a slide just now to tell you who to come and see, but please don't feel that because it's not a simple case of, oh, I'm just not doing very well at that course, that you can't come to see us. You can explain the circumstances and talk to us. And we really do encourage you to do that as early as possible when you identify there's something going on in your life that's impacting your performance. And these are some of the friendly faces that you can come and approach. So if it's something that's affecting a particular course, come to that lecturer. If it's something that's more broadly impacting your performance and as a whole, then you can go to the individual lecturers, but you could also come to the department as well. So please consider these faces approachable faces that you can come and speak to about those sort of things. And then if it is something broader, you can come and see Mrs. Belfonte Paul in the Life Sciences main office. And then depending on the issue, it may be that she suggests talking to the head of department, or even the Deputy Dean for Undergraduate Student Matters, who is Dr. Beckles. So she's based in the Dean's office. And so things that are affecting your performance of the whole programme, sometimes it might be necessary to speak to her about those issues. But in the first instance, you can come to the department and be advised on the process after that, depending on what it is that you need advice on. And as I said, the earlier you alert us to the issue, the more likely it is that we will be able to help you in some way with that. There's also help outside of the department, depending on the issue. We have our own campus student counselling and psychological services, where there are trained psychologists who are able to help you counsellors, professionals who are able to, you can book an appointment and speak to them as needed. And that can be arranged through the department, or I believe you can approach them directly as well. We have a peer counselling association, which you can check out, which is other students who are able to meet with you and be an ear to advise or listen. We have our own peer advisors within the faculty, so it's other FST students, science and technology students, who are there to more with the academic side of things, or it's a sort of network of people who are in second and third year who can then advise first years on what's going on. And then we have the Division for Student Services and Development, who are another place to keep on your radar. If you have any issues in terms of your performance and any special allowances that you might be needed for exams and things like that, this is the division where you would be connected with for that. So I know that was quite a bit of information, but really my big message is that being a UE student is not only about getting your degree, although that is very important, that is the most important thing, but I'd say almost equally as important are the other things that you can enjoy while you're on campus and really take advantage of being on this, as Professor Ramsebag said, this historic campus with its international reputation. So we have lots of different sports, we have the gym, we have a wide range of clubs and societies that may be connected or not connected at all to biology and life sciences. It's a place to build friendships that are likely to last for life, and that's university is a place where many people end up making friends that they stay in touch with forever, or even end up working with down the line. So you just never know where those friendships will lead. And you meet like-minded people, you're meeting people with similar interests often, or people with very different backgrounds and interests. It's all part of the advantages of coming to university. And you can gather a lot of transferable skills beyond just what you're learning academically that can set you in a really good position for the future. On all of these things, don't compete. They shouldn't be competing with your academic pursuits. They should be complementing them. It's important to have balance. I know sometimes it's going to feel like your academic work is overwhelming, but try your best to always make time for those other things, because ultimately they can help you perform better academically once you're balancing those things in your life. And they certainly can help with your employability when it comes to writing a CV and getting a job in a few years' time. Then being able to say you did other things outside of your degree is always a nice thing to be able to add to make you stand out. I won't highlight all the clubs and societies. You'll find out about those in a couple of weeks. But the one that's based in our department and has been in our department for decades is the Biological Society, a very active and old society that does really great activities and clubs. I recommend joining it if you have that interest in conservation, in biology. They organise great hikes, they organise beach cleanups, but they're also it's a nice friendly group of people who organise lots of fun activities and fundraisers in the department as well. There's also an environmental society, and then outside of UWE, there is the Trinidad and Tobago Field Naturalist Club, and it's not a university associated club, but we have lots of connections between the Field Naturalist Club and the UWE and DLS. So it's a great society to join if your interest is in zoology, in botany, in natural history, and in the environment. And they have a student rate to join, so you can check that out. So to end, really, I want to leave you with the advice to have fun and make the most of this opportunity to do your degree in the Department of Life Sciences. I'm sure you'll have a great time, and I really look forward to teaching all of you at some point.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Deacon.
Paulette,
Mhm.
we're not hearing.
Okay, we're waiting for Dr. Farrell. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am, but you're echoing.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Hi, Dr. Farrell. Are you on?
Hello, yes, and hello everyone. So are you going to play the recording from your side, or do you need me to do it?
Oh, if you wish me to play from my side, I can go ahead if you wish.
That was my assumption. I'll just introduce myself and then we can try and do that. So yes, hello everyone, I'm Dr. Farrell. So I'll be meeting most of you in week 1 or 2 in living organisms, teaching the plant side of things. But this lecture is kind of introducing you to the degree structure. You will get the really specific knowledge in the breakout rooms once you establish which program you're following. But this lecture is about electives and about the degree structure. So hopefully it will give you some knowledge of how everything works and some ideas for questions you might need to ask in the breakout room. So if we go ahead with that now, and I'll be here if there's any questions.
Dr. Farrell, you may have to share from your end. I'm having connectivity issues with this particular computer.
Okay, I will try and do that. You can let me know if there's any issue with the audio or anything like that. Hello, I'm Dr. Farrell. I'm one of the lecturers here in life science. Okay, so just going to pause there. Did everybody hear that?
Yeah, that was fine from my end.
Great, I'll start it again.
Now it's not working. Well, now I can't hear it.
Okay. I'll have to just leave it with the microphone. You can tell me if the sound is working well or not. Hello, I'm Dr. Farrell. I'm one of the lecturers here in life sciences. So you're going to meet me soon in some of the courses where I teach mostly about plants. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is something much more general. It's about elective courses. Okay, so soon you will know exactly what program you're doing, and you will know a lot of the courses you need to do. But one thing you'll realize at some point is that there are some choices. Okay, so these are what we refer to as elective courses. So they're courses that not everyone on your particular program will choose, because there is a selection that you get to make. Okay, for some of you this won't even happen, but for most of you, you will be choosing some elective courses at some point. Okay, so this is hopefully good news for most of you. You look at this as an opportunity to add to your degree something you're interested in, but it does, of course, involve making a decision. Okay, so to understand what these courses are, of course, you need to know what your core courses represent. So the phrase core course refers to the courses that you absolutely must register for to complete your program. The first thing you need to know is, what is my program? And hopefully by the end of today, that will be clarified for you. The courses within your program will have a certain course code. So you'll see letters like bio for biology. And then there'll be a number. If it starts with 1, it's a level 1 course. So those are the ones you'll be looking at now as you register for first year, semester 1. The other thing you need to know about is something called prerequisites. So prerequisites are courses that you need to complete before you can register for the course you're interested in. So again, at this stage, the only prerequisites you will have will be ones that have come from school courses. But as you move on, you want to do a certain course in second year or even in semester 2, first year, you will need to have already passed another course. So that course will become a prerequisite. Okay, so here's where the elective courses fit in. Particularly, let's look at first year first of all. So everybody, in order to advance to second year, needs to complete 24 level 1 first year courses. So your program might already have enough core courses that once you've registered for them, you can see you already have a full 24 level 1 credits and you don't need to do anything else. But many of you will have come into the degree program with a lot of knowledge from your school exams. So for example, you might have done a lot of chemistry, so you are not required to do the level 1 chemistry course in a particular case. So that will leave a gap where you still need to get those level 1 credits, but you don't need to, or you actually can't, repeat the chemistry knowledge that you've already been examined on in school. So most of you will have a gap for 1 course, 2 courses. In some cases, it can be more. Okay. So this is where the electives come in.
Each of you can choose a different elective, so I'm not going to show you a long list or direct you towards particular ones. It's just to be aware that depending on who you are, what your background is, you will need to be completing a certain number of courses each semester, up to 5 courses each semester. So if there's a gap, you need to look for an elective to fill that gap. Just to point out that the foundation courses, the ones that start with these letters here, those are not level 1 credits. Those are a separate type of course, so don't get confused with that. Okay, so how would you go about choosing these electives if you need one, more than one? So the good news is they can actually come from any faculty. It doesn't have to be another science course. Many of you will be excited to broaden your knowledge within the science and technology faculty, so you might look there first, but you can look elsewhere also. So the way you look for these courses is to get the faculty booklets. Each faculty will have a number of departments like we see here. Which department are you most interested in? Which course within that are you most interested in? It's just a case of looking through these different faculty booklets from the faculty that your main program is in or from anywhere else. When you look in the booklets, you'll see lists of courses, and then at the end, you'll see a description of those courses. So you might want to check whether you're still interested when you read the course description. You do this online, of course. But the first thing you really need to check is, in this case, is it a level 1 course? Because that's what you need. You can't do a level 2 course as part of your level 1 credits. Check it's in the semester that you need the course to fall in to balance your workload. Check the prerequisites. So as you look through these booklets in first year, really you're looking for courses that have no prerequisites. So you could search for the word none, and you'll see all the courses that don't have prerequisites, and then decide whether you're interested. Okay, so this example comes from our faculty. There are courses that don't say none beside prerequisite, but the prerequisites come from school level courses, so you might still be able to do those. So this is an example here. Science communication is a course that's a level 1 course within this faculty. It's core for one of the programs, but that doesn't mean someone from a different program like biology or biochemistry can't do it as an elective. That's where most of the electives will come from. They're courses that are core somewhere, but not core for you. So those are good ones to look at. As I say, it doesn't have to be our faculty. Obviously, those are the courses we know about, but you need to take the responsibility. If you have a strong drive to learn a language, to strengthen something that you were strong on in school, or just to do something that you're really interested in, you can go through all the different faculties. For example, in social sciences, there is Introduction to Psychology, no prerequisites, level 1, semester 1. Okay, so there are many, many of these courses. I've just shown you one example. There is one other type of course that can be very useful if you have a gap in terms of your level 1 credits, and these are the co-curricular courses. So these aren't in a particular faculty. You can just go to this website here, the co-curricular course website. You'll see a list. These are just the first 3. So these courses start with CO, CR, co-curricular. They tend to be things that are of general interest, so skills that will be useful for anyone in navigating their way through life and through careers. One thing particular with these courses is to check the credit weighting, because these aren't all 3 credit courses. So if you have a 3 credit gap, you might need to do 1, 2, or even 3 of these courses to get those credits. But of course, the workload is balanced to the credit load. You also need to check that you're not doing too many of these. At the moment, in our faculty at least, the rule is you can only have a maximum of 6 credits from these type of courses. Okay, and these are level 1 credits. So maximum 6 credits from co-curricular courses. Okay, so just to kind of summarize that, yes, you can look across all the different departments and faculties, but you do need to have the prerequisites, so look out for the prerequisites. Once you've actually chosen a course you're interested in, you will need to check that the timetable of that course doesn't clash with a core course which you're already committed to. The core course always takes precedent. Okay, so I do want to mention a little bit more about the electives that we do have in life sciences, particularly in biology, because some of the biology programs, a single major, actually leaves a lot of room for electives. But this is really just an example because this applies to everyone. If there is an elective course that you want to do in year 3, some specialist course you're very interested in, it is a good idea to plan ahead even now from first year because of those prerequisites. So generally, the programs we offer in this faculty, in this department, in year 2, there isn't a lot of room for adding electives. So if you do your year 2 courses all in your second year, you don't spread them out, you probably won't have any room for electives. So it's really year 3 that I want to focus on. So in year 3, you need 30 advanced credits. So generally that's 10 courses of 3 credits each, and generally that's balanced 5 and 5 over the 2 semesters. So in some cases, all of these courses are electives. You're choosing from a big group of courses. Okay, so I want to show you the example of biology. In biology, at the moment, these are the elective courses. So again, of course, these are core for programs. Many of you will already recognize these, but they're also available as electives if you need advanced credits to complete your degree. So you could just look through an alphabetical list, or maybe you already know what you're looking for, but to help you, the courses are grouped according to these topics. So we have ecology and environment, marine, plant biology, zoology, microbiology, and biotechnology. There are some other courses that fall between these, but you can look in the booklet to see the full descriptions. So I'm not going to talk about all of these. It's really just to point out what's distinct. This is one example. This gives you an idea. By year 3, the elective courses are quite specialized. So this is carabine coral reefs. So whereas in first year, second year, you might be learning in general about zoology or in general about marine environment, in some of these courses, you can get quite specialized and really get some detailed local knowledge. So something to look forward to there. But first thing to check is, are you eligible for the course? Do you have the prerequisites? Okay, so that's why I'm mentioning it now. If you did want to do this exciting course, you would have had to have already completed this other course that comes in semester 1, and you would have already had to have done the level 2 courses, which are prerequisites for both of these courses. So that sounds terribly complicated. If you do the program you're supposed to do, in most cases, you will have the prerequisites. It's just worth checking. If there is a course that you have your heart set on in year 3, try and work your way back and make sure you will be eligible. Okay. By the same token, when it does come to level 3, if you do have a huge choice of electives like this example here, you can go through this list, go through the process I just mentioned, and choose the 10 courses you need. But you do have to be a little bit careful. There's a problem with the choice on this screen. might have spotted it. Got 3 courses in semester 1 and the rest in semester 2, so you can't actually do that. So you may have to make some compromises. So this student would have to rethink and choose courses that are balanced over the 2 semesters. So do be aware of that. You can't necessarily do absolutely every course you're passionate about. You may have to make some compromises, but the sooner you start planning, the less likely you are to make a mistake, and not be able to do a course you would have liked to. Okay, so the message about electives is core courses come first. Make sure you register for those. Check when you're choosing these courses that it's the correct level, 1, 2, or 3, well, 1 or advanced. Check it's in the right semester, it has the right number of credits. Check that you have the prerequisites. Make sure the timetable doesn't cause a problem for you. And it's really only at that point that you would come for academic advising. You would fill in your form saying what the courses you're planning to do are. And that's really where we would double check and make sure everything is possible. Okay, so that's it from me.
Okay, right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much. I hope everyone is hearing me clearly now. Yes?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Is everyone hearing me clearly?
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, hearing you.
All right, wonderful. A hearty welcome once again to our new students for 24-25. Right, make no mistake, as the lecturers and our head of department would have stated earlier, we are the best department in the Faculty of Science and Technology. And your experience here is going to be a very good one, right? As Dr. Deacon and our head indicated before as well, right? Any question, any advice required, right? Don't take it from your friends. You'll need to come to us here at the department and we will take care of you. We will make sure that you have the correct advice, and we will also make sure to assist you in your time of need. So when you have your situations, right, you can come to us and we will guide you in the most accurate manner. So please do not hesitate or shy away from interacting with the staff at the Department of Life Sciences, with your lecturers, with myself, the administrative assistant, or the head of department, because we will assist you the best way possible. All right, and please do not take too long to come to us if you have any issues or concern. Right, so the sooner you interact with us and we get to know you, the better your experience here at the department will be. Right, so I'm very happy to be here today to greet you all. But now we lead into our breakout sessions, where you will be guided specifically as to which courses you are required to select for your program for your semester 1 registration. All right, amongst other things. Okay, so all the best to all of you for this semester. I'm looking forward to seeing you during your academic advising and during the semester. All right, so we break now to the breakout